Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am joining the ladies for a sketch Sunday, and we're all going to be using the sketch that is part of the mini paper pad class that is offered completely free by Shannon over at She's Crafty. Now I will link Shannon's channel in my description box so you can check out her free class that she's offering, and I will also go ahead and link the ladies for sketch Sunday so you can see their layouts using the sketch. Now for the paper pad today, I am going to be using the Cocoa Vanilla Merry and Bright collection. You can see there's a 6x8 pad, and I added that to my stash kit. And I did share that kit with you guys at the beginning of January. So I'm going to go ahead and use that today on my layout. And I am using a total of 5 photos all together, just like it is shown in the sketch. But I am not following the measurements exactly as in the sketch. So you can see I am trimming down my photos right now. And these are really fun, silly photos of my grandson. He takes these selfies on my phone. So when I go through my photos, I usually find these really, really cute photos. And I went ahead, I printed them out in black and white. And I'll mat them on that dark green pattern paper. Now I'll mat my largest photo on this black cardstock. So now that I have my photos matted, I am going to go through and find some pattern papers that I'm going to be using for those 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares that's on the sketch. And for the squares, I did stick to the measurements they have there on the sketch. But like I said, my photos are various sizes. Now, if you would like to know the measurements for the photos I use, go ahead, comment below, and I'll give you guys the dimensions that I used. But here I have all of my squares all set up on the left side. And I am going to choose a background pattern paper now to add my photos to. Now, I wanted to use a wood grain design. I pulled out this paper pack here from Close to My Heart, and I will go ahead and link this down below in the description box. This is a lovely, lovely paper pack. You can see all of the awesome designs there. And I went ahead and chose this gray and black one with a little hint of white in there for my background. I'm just flipping through the other ones right now just to make sure that this is the one I wanted to use. But I think it went really well, especially with my photos that I printed out in black and white. So I trimmed off the manufacturer's strip, and I am going to remove about 1 inch off the bottom there. And because of the design on this paper, I removed a 1/2 inch off the right side and the left side. That way I will not mess up the design on the paper. And I am going to mat this pattern paper on some white cardstock. So before I mat my pattern paper on this cardstock, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. And I grabbed this border stamp, and that is from Close to My Heart as well. And I'm using it together with my black archival ink pad. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp out these cute little hearts all the way around my white cardstock. Now, once I begin stamping, I notice right away I am not getting a perfect stamped image. And it's because I am not using anything at all to make sure I line up these stamps straight on my cardstock. You can see I'm just eyeballing it and just going all the way around. So it's not extremely straight. It's pretty straight, but not exactly straight. So to disguise the little bits of imperfection here and there, I will go ahead and ink the edges of my white cardstock. Now to ink the edges, I'll use the Distress Oxide ink pad. I believe the color I use would be Hickory Smoke, and I will add all of this information as to what I use down in the description box. And you can see I'm just using my finger dauber right there and going all the way around my white cardstock. And I did the same for my pattern paper as well. Here I'm just using my ATG adhesive. I'm going to adhere my pattern paper. And now I'm going to go ahead and line up all of my squares and figure out exactly where I want each pattern to be. So you can see I left some of the areas there without any squares where my photos would be. I am not wasting any of my pattern paper. And some of these photos will lay on top some of the pattern papers, and it's not exactly like that in a sketch, but that's totally fine. I really love how this design turned out, even though I did not use the exact measurements. Now once I got to the second photo here, I decided to go ahead and trim it even smaller than it already is. There's a lot of space in between the top of the photo and my grandson's head, so I'm going to just remove that part of it, make it a little bit smaller, and fix the matting on there. And I actually moved that down below the larger photo, as you can see now. So once I have all of my squares in place, my photos in place, I did take a picture using my tablet, so that way once I go to adhere all of these pieces later on, I will know exactly where they were and how I liked it. Now before I do that, I am going to go ahead and ink the edges of each one of these squares using the hickory smoke, and you can see it's a very messy inking there. It's not even all the way around. And I go in with this black ink pad and just giving each of these squares a darker outline. Now I am going to do the same with that black ink pad around each one of the smaller photos. I did not do the large one, of course, because it is matted in some black cardstock as well already. Now here I'm using the same black ink pad. I'm going all the way around my white cardstock, and that just defined the edges of my layout. So now, referring back to the picture that I took earlier with how I love how this was lined up, I am now going to go ahead and adhere each one of my squares, and I am leaving a small space in between each square. And I did use my T-square ruler to help me line them up nice and straight, as you can see there. Now the spaces that you see in between that there are no squares, that's where my photos are gonna lay. So I'm not gonna waste my pattern paper laying them down there, of course. Now once I have all of these squares in place, I will go back and add my photos on top of my squares and in the empty spaces. So I began with my largest photo, and then I'll go ahead and lay down the other 4 photos. Now to print out these photos, I did use an app on my phone, PicGrid, I think it's called. I cannot remember exactly. If you want to know which app I use, just let me know in the comments. But I did use an app, and I was able to add about 4 different photos on one 4x6 print, and that made it really easy getting these small prints, these small sized photos on one 4x6 photo paper. So I did not have to, print them out each individually, those small sizes. So here I am going to add that element in that you see on the sketch where the title would be, and it seems like a very long tag, and that's what I'm creating right now. And I pulled out another sheet of that pattern paper there, and I'm going to go with this more solid pattern paper here. Now I did use my punch here to punch out the tag, the top of the tag, and I decided to add some twine. Now the twine that I pulled out at first was a gold and white twine, but then I saw the silver and white, and I thought it went a lot better with that sort of gray wood grain paper. The silver definitely looked a lot better with it. So I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of twine and just add a knot to it to attach it to that tag. So now that I have the twine and my tag in place, I wanted to add some more of that twine elsewhere on my layout. And I decided to add a strip of that down below my photos. You can see I tucked part of it under that last photo on the bottom right corner, and I added just a knot to it. And on the sketch, there's a scallop element to the top left and the bottom right. So I remember I had the scallop washi tape in my stash, and it is a glittery black washi, but it's definitely not too bold for this layout. I love how it looked here, and I went ahead and added some of that to the top left and bottom right. And I also added a tiny bit of that twine again to the top left corner. So I have the twine in 3 different areas now. So here I am going to go ahead and stamp my title. Now I am using this really cute stamp set. It's a really fun stamp set. You can see the sizes of the alphas are different sizes. They are a bit distressed looking and really wonky looking, and I think it went really well with the layout. And being that these were fun, silly photos, I think it suited this layout really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp out my entire title here on the tag. It says just one more selfie, and for the word selfie, I use all of the smallest letters you can find on this stamp set. There are actually 2 different sizes of each of those alphas on there. So I'm going to finish up my title. And next up, I am going to go ahead and stamp just a tiny bit of those hearts there. Now I'm using that piece of white scrap there just to mask off so I don't get it on the edge. I just wanted the hearts right below my title, just in the center of my title there. So here I'm going to add, let's see, some embellishments. And I grabbed the ephemera pack that came with the Cocoa Vanilla Merry and Bright collection. And you can see right on the top there we have all of these cute hearts. And I already have hearts going on this layout. So I decided to go ahead and use those die cut hearts. And I also used a word phrase, a tab that says sweet. Now for some of these hearts, I popped them up on some foam adhesive circles here. And I used the larger ones, of course, on the hearts on the bottom right. And I have some tiny circle adhesives. I added those to the ones on the top. I actually just added one to the green heart. Here I went ahead, I popped up the word sweet, that little tab there, and it looks as though it's just sticking off from right above the twine. Here I have this tray of bits and pieces. I try to pull this out as much as I can when I'm working on layouts, and these are just leftovers from different kits, different collections. And I found some puffy hearts. The colors went pretty well with the colors that I'm using. And I also found these little circles. These are from Felicity Jane. There's some words on there. One says awesome. This one says, there's another one that says this and smile. So the bottom left corner actually reads this sweet smile. And I also added 2 of those circles on my photo. I got a bit of ink there when I was doing my stamping for my title, so it covered up that little bit of ink that was on my photo. So now I'm gonna add some splatters. I am using some black India ink with my fan brush here, and I love how those black splatters look against that wood grain pattern paper. Now on the sketch you can see they have splatters on, I believe, 3 different areas. I added that all the way around, but I've added more. I concentrated more on the top right corner and the bottom of my layout. And here I have some close-up shots, and I hope you guys enjoy the process today. I absolutely love how this turned out. I love the colors here, this background, the black and white photos. It went pretty well together, and the little pops of colors here and there. So if you guys enjoy the process, be sure to give me a thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to check out my description box. Go on over and check out the free class and everyone else's layouts today using this sketch. I want to thank you all for watching, and until my next video, bye.